Chapter 2, The Problem with Diets. When I was about 10 years old, I remember overhearing some women talking about dieting. One of them said, "Yep, if I can pinch an inch, it's time to go back on a diet." I remember going into the bathroom and lifting my shirt to see how my belly measured up. Could I pinch an inch? To my dismay, I could. I'd never thought of myself as overweight, but this was the first time I even considered it. Whether you've been on 100 diets in your life or none, we all have been affected by diet culture. In fact, one survey showed that 75% of American women endorse unhealthy thoughts, feelings, or behaviors related to food or their bodies. This is diet culture in action. It changes us. It changes our relationship with things in the world that should be neutral, if not benevolent. It changes how we see the body we live in and the fuel we feed it. If you are going to be successful in turning your health around with a lifestyle approach, you must become aware of the ways diet culture is informing your perspective on healthy eating and health in general. Let's start with this myth. Being thin makes you healthy. There is no silver bullet for health. Dieting is not the answer because it is not holistic enough. Dieting ignores the other aspects of health and wellness, namely exercise and stress management. What's more, fad diets by nature are not sustainable. Dieting is old news. Its time is past. You are ready for a new and better way to reclaim your health. Just like history, we must understand our past so we can create a better future. So think of this chapter as a guided tour through the dusty halls of diet culture. I'll be your guide in this slightly troubling museum. This is where you will see clearly the old, antiquated way of changing our behavior and shrinking our bodies. As you see it for the oppressive, harmful, deceiving thing it is, you'll be all the more committed to leaving it behind forever. In the chapters to come, we'll explore a better way, a holistic, healthy way to live the life you want. First, though, you will get to look at diet culture in the face and tell it, "No, Mr. Diet, I am done with you." Before we begin, let's be clear on how we are defining diet. Diet, or dieting, can mean different things to different people. Here is my definition for this book. Dieting is any extreme restriction or change in eating behavior that induces feelings of deprivation and is unsustainable in nature. When I say diet, I am referring to fad diets, those that promise quick and dramatic results in a short amount of time, even if done for good reasons, like for at-risk individuals who are legitimately overweight or obese or have any number of health problems, including diabetes or heart disease. A diet is still a diet in my book. So what is the problem with diets? Well, for starters, they just don't work long-term. 95% of dieters will regain the weight they lose in 1 to 5 years. 95%. That is a crime against humanity when you consider that 45 million Americans go on a diet each year. I say no more. The next fad diet is not your solution. You are. You are capable of so much more than climbing on the diet roller coaster. Let's stop being duped by diet culture. It's time to pull back the curtain and see what's really going on with diets. We must expose why diets don't work, so you will commit to leaving their lies behind once and for all. You're not a racehorse. Have you ever seen the blinders they put on racehorses? They put even larger blinders on horses that pull wagons or carriages. Blinders prevent horses from looking anywhere but directly in front of them. Diets do this to you. Diets give you tunnel vision. Diets force you to look at one thing and one thing only, the number on the scale. There's a big difference between going on a diet and simply making a healthy change in diet. You can call it lots of things: eating healthier, changing your way of eating, adopting a healthier lifestyle. Those are some of the word choices my clients and I prefer. Most of the women and men who come to me for health and wellness coaching want me to help them make a healthy diet change. We do this in an enjoyable and sustainable way based on principles you'll learn in Chapter 8. Again and again, though, I see well-meaning recovering dieters bring their old dieting mentality to their new healthy lifestyle, and it gets in their way. About a year ago, I started working with a client who had adopted my eating program but was frustrated that she hadn't lost weight. She shared that she was doing all the right things nutritionally, which should have allowed her body to shed the excess weight, but it wasn't happening for her, and she felt like a failure. She was frustrated and confused, to say the least. In one of our coaching calls, I asked what other benefits she had noticed as a result of her healthier way of eating. She responded with a laundry list of changes: less pain, inflammation in her joints, less fatigue, less brain fog, and more energy. She even said she felt light on her feet. What's more, she also noticed her relationship with food was changing, and she was not falling into mindless eating anymore. It was clear that her body was responding to her healthy eating, just not in the way she wanted most. No weight loss, no satisfaction. That is diet culture talking. So I ask you, is the scale stealing your joy? Are you completely fixated on one outcome? If so, you're not alone. One of the biggest lies of diet culture is that the only thing that matters is our weight. To leave that faulty thinking behind, stop dismissing the results that matter. Commit now to celebrate every little way that your body will thank you for the healthy changes you make. Trust your body to get to the weight loss when it's ready. As you step into a healthier way of eating, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Changing your eating alone is another form of tunnel vision diet culture promotes. If we truly want to become healthy, we need to be holistic in our approach and pay attention to all aspects of health and wellness, not just nutrition. The problem with finish lines. One of the biggest beefs I have with diets is that they have a beginning and an end. Diets have a finish line. If you're solely focused on one short-term outcome, like dropping 50 pounds, you will do whatever it takes to accomplish that. And then what? I'll tell you. You'll join the ranks with the 95% who gain back every pound they lost. Health is not a freaking sprint. You cannot white-knuckle your way into a healthy lifestyle. Finish lines, aka weight loss goals, in diet culture teach us to sacrifice at all costs and look forward to the light at the end of the tunnel, where the prize is yours and the torture is over. Again, I say no more. Don't chase the finish line. Chase the lifestyle. This goes for those of you choosing healthy eating to reverse lifestyle disease as well. If we want true and lasting health, we need to go about creating it in a way that is perpetual as well as pleasing. If you have ever gone to unsustainable lengths to reach an end result, you may have experienced something I call the rubber band effect. When you stretch so far and work so hard, you are using every ounce of willpower you can muster just to reach your goal. There will come a time when you cannot help but snap back to your starting point. Slap! Can you feel it? The stinging red welt? That's what diet culture does. It gives big promises, requires too much, and then dumps you right back where you started. Even if you press forward, read this book in its entirety, and begin crafting your own healthy lifestyle, it will all be for nothing if you do not cleanse this finish line mentality from your programming. To take a lifestyle approach is to make a lifelong commitment. It means letting go of finish lines. It means loosening your grip on results. It means focusing more on the journey and letting the outcomes take care of themselves. More on this later in chapter 5 and 6. But for now, open your eyes to the times the alluring finish line mentality ruled your life. If you're willing to be done with dieting, you have to be done with finish lines. You cannot sprint to good health like you can sprint to weight loss. It's time to start playing the long game. I promise I'll show you how to play that game in a way you won't hate. Huge effort for short-term results. Next on our tour of old, inadequate, ineffective ways to change behavior and get healthier is the practice of putting forth huge effort for short-term results. This is closely related to the problem of finish lines, but definitely deserves its own attention. Go big or go home is one of the mantras of dieting. It's dangerous to believe that in order to get results, you have to make huge changes all at once. This flies in the face of behavior change science. Go big or go home doesn't serve you. It sets you up for failure. In fact, huge effort often leads to huge burnout. After all, there's a reason they call it a crash diet. I've met many women and men in my coaching practice who tell me they've tried and failed so many times at changing to a healthier lifestyle. Many of the people I work with come to me because they know I am a plant-based nutrition advocate. Again and again, I hear their stories of failure and frustration in trying to make that disciplined way of eating a new lifestyle for themselves. Every time, I have to teach them that going cold turkey or changing eating habits overnight is not realistic. You can't just flip a switch and expect things to be different. You have to work with your habits if you're going to change them, and that takes time. Speaking of time, let's talk about before and after pictures. I know you want one. I know you want to shed your health problems and see yourself healthier and happier. I know you want it now. Again, the culture we live in perpetuates this desire. Social media and marketing messages are mostly well-meaning, but can mess with our brains to where we believe we can transform ourselves as quickly and easily as a snapshot. Before and after photos don't show the time that has passed. They don't show the plateaus. They don't show the setbacks. They don't show the behaviors and habits that have changed along the way. They are a tiny, one-dimensional view of a life-changing process. I bet you care more about the process than you think. I bet you want the growth and personal development that will come as you do the work. If so, it's time to stop killing yourself for that before and after picture. Like all the other doctrines of diet culture, it's tempting to make a big, flashy commitment to yourself, whether it's a commitment to a diet or healthy lifestyle change, and expect that to be enough. The persuasive, pervasive sludge of diet culture we all swim through every day of modern life makes us think that this is the way to make changes. It's not. I'll show you why in chapter 7, but for now, just promise me no more white knuckling it. There is a better way. Keep reading and I'll show you. All or nothing thinking. The next attraction on our tour of the old dieting way is probably something you thought was just part of you and not cultural conditioning. I have yet to meet a recovering dieter who did not suffer from the sickness of all or nothing thinking. While you think you are a perfectionist by nature, I would argue that it is more by nurture and by diet culture brainwashing that many of us become perfectionists. Perfectionism in dieting has taught you this mantra: if I'm not miserable, it might not work. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be perfect to get results. Perfectionism in dieting has taught you to buy into no pain, no gain. These are not truths, they are lies. Sure, you may have to follow fad diets to the letter to get the promised results, but we absolutely cannot continue applying diet mentalities to healthy living. And so I'll say it again, you do not have to be perfect to get results with healthy living. I have seen this diet culture fallacy play out for many of my clients. Recently, I was on the phone with a woman whose story was wrought with perfectionism. It hurt me to hear her talk about how her perfectionism often led to a shame spiral whenever she cheated in her new way of eating. Side note, beware of diet culture language. It's a sign you are still being brainwashed. She told me she had learned all about healthier plant-based eating and wanted to do it 100%, but was sad to say she probably only ate the way she wanted to about 70% of the time. That's when I taught her about the pendulum effect. The pendulum effect is when something isn't working over here on one side, say 70% healthy eating, and we overreact. It's almost like overcorrecting your steering wheel when you suddenly realize you are drifting into the other lane. You freak out and yank as hard as you can, swinging the pendulum over to 100%. Do you see now how unhelpful and unnecessary this is? Just because 70% healthy eating isn't helping you feel better or lose weight, it does not mean you must jump all the way to 100% to get what you want. While perfectionism won't serve you, mediocrity won't either. The most successful clients notice where they want to improve, take small but mighty steps forward, and steadily raise the bar. Bit by bit is the way to go. No overcorrecting, no pendulum swings, just slow and steady progress. I'll tell you right now, you do not have to eat perfectly, sleep perfectly, exercise perfectly, eliminate all stressors imaginable, or have a pristinely perfect mindset to get results from a healthy lifestyle. I could name multiple clients who have said, "I'm so relieved I don't have to be perfect to feel better." Every step in the right direction of health will make a difference. Getting healthy is not about being perfect. As you continue reading, you will begin to remodel your understanding. It's not so much about how to make healthy changes or not doing on behavior science. It's about moving and not standing still. Culture. One size fits none. As we wrap up our final vignette of modern diet culture, it's time to expose the most insidious lie of all. Diet after diet, fad after fad, has stood up in the public square and preached, "Here, this is your answer. Just do exactly as I say, and you can be thin and healthy like everyone else." It's tempting. You want to believe it. You want to believe that they have what you need. You want to do whatever they tell you because you want the results they are selling. Then you've done it. You've done all they asked, but you're miserable and you're exhausted. Either you lost the weight because you were so damn perfect, or you burned out before you made it to their finish line. Either way, when the dust settled and you were left to yourself again, eventually everything returned to normal, and you were right back to where you started. All the old habits came back, and the weight you lost came along with those old habits. In the fallout of your last fad diet, did it ever occur to you that maybe you hadn't failed the diet, but the diet failed you? The truth is, you were not the problem. The diet was. I know what it's like to think I'm the problem, or I'm just not enough. For me, it showed up most often when I went bra shopping. Sorry guys, a little girl talk here for a moment. Just skip this part if you need to. Ladies, bra shopping sucks. It especially sucks for someone like me, who has never been busty, except when I nursed my babies. All my life, I've been pretty slight of figure. There's a lot of shame and embarrassment that bubbles up inside me, even talking about it. But I share this with you because for me, bra shopping is a lot like dieting. I go into the department store and nothing fits. I can't fill out anything on the rack. My bust size is not even on the charts. It doesn't exist. So I ask you, have I failed? Am I just not woman enough? Hell no. It took me quite a while to make peace with it, but just like dieting has failed you, department stores failed me. It wasn't until I discovered a t-shirt bra on Amazon that I finally found my happy place. I found what worked for me. I don't bother with department store bra shopping anymore. I'm done with it. And now I know that I was never the problem. The department store was. Dieting for health is a lie. It was never designed to give you lasting results. It was never intended to bring you joy in your journey. It's a modern torture chamber we have all been brainwashed to think is a necessary part of life. To weed out the myths and lies of diet culture, it will take repetition. Go to the toolkit and download Diet Culture Truth Bombs to read through some reminders about the problem with diets. You can print these out to read regularly, or write them on your bathroom mirror, or make yourself flashcards or a bookmark. These will help you start to focus more on health and less on weight. Diet culture does not need to run the show anymore. The good news is that there is another way. So read on. You are going to pick up the pieces and put something beautiful in its place. You are going to learn to trust yourself again and crowd out all the old dieting culture programming. Chapter 2, Journal Prompts. Number 1. What is your history with dieting? How many have you been on? Which ones? What worked and what didn't? Number 2. How has diet culture changed the way you think about health? Number 3. How has dieting affected you? Number 3. How has dieting affected how you think about food? How has dieting influenced your thoughts and feelings about yourself? And number 5, what do you most want to leave behind from diet culture? What would be a better way of moving forward feel like for you?